Hey, Julie, the stream has started, and as soon as you have quorum, you're free to start.
Great. Thank you, David.
How many do we have right now?
It's showing 15 participants.
Okay. Okay, so I guess, well, let's get started. So good morning, everyone. Right now at this time, Lisa Young will take a roll call to determine if a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, when I call your name, please respond. Richard Allen. Cindy Blackmore.
Present.
Manuel Castillo.
Present.
Matthew Williams, City of Litchfield. Wendy Kreitz.
I am here.
Michael Denby.
Present.
Felipe Moreno for City of Phoenix. Jason Jordan. Brian Kehoe. Amanda McKeever.
Present.
Paul Montes. Amy Moreno. Amy Moreno.
See your picture, see
your
the
picture
video.
too. I
Do
don't
you have
think
audio, Amy?
Okay, Lauren Whitaker.
Here.
Robert Parks. Aaron Red.
Present.
Nick Russo.
Here.
Tracy Conaway. JB Shaw.
I'm here.
Ramona Simpson.
Here.
Robert Vondenacker.
Present.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Lisa. We will call to order this meeting. Quorum now is present. The meeting of MAG Solid Waste Advisory Committee is called to order. At this time, all members are actually participating virtually. So this is a new setting for us. If you could please keep your microphone muted. If you're not speaking, that'll help cut down on the background noise. But anytime you do speak, if we could just get you to identify who you are, so that way we can make sure that we have a record of it. First order of business will be the approval of the March 3rd, 2020 meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
This is Nick Russo with El Mirage. I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Do I have a second?
Robert Vondenacker, City of Buckeye, second.
Is there any discussions? Okay, no discussions. Okay, a roll call vote will be taken at this time by Lisa Young for the minutes, the approval of March 3rd, 2020 meeting minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, when I call your name, please respond. Cindy Blackmore.
Sorry
Manuel,
about that. Aye.
Manuel Castillo,
Aye.
Wendy Kreitz,
Aye.
Michael Denby,
Aye.
Philippe Moreno, Amanda McKeever,
Aye.
Amy Moreno, Amy Moreno, Lauren Whitaker,
Aye.
Aaron Red,
Aye.
Nick Rousseau,
Aye.
Debbie Shaw,
Aye.
Ramona Simpson,
Aye.
Robert Vondenacker.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, we have unanimous vote. Mr. Chair, we do have a unanimous vote.
Yeah, there is a mute button. I keep forgetting about that myself. So thank you, Lisa. And thanks for everyone for being so adaptable. I know this is a different format, so, and this is our first time using Zoom with this group, so, or at least I haven't used Zoom yet, so, but moving forward, now that we have a vote on the approval of the meeting minutes, we'll just move forward. Action item number 3 was the regional markets for recycling. We were supposed to have a guest speaker join us, but we will not be hearing that agenda item today at this time, but we will try to get that rescheduled for another time at a different meeting. And we'll move that agenda. We'll just go ahead and move on to agenda item number 4. If anyone, this was a discussion that has been going on with some of the municipalities already. I thought it would be a good idea. We decided to try to see where everyone's at this time with the impacts of the COVID-19 on the solid waste and recycling industry. More in particular, how it's impacting each municipality, how each municipality is handling the situation. Basically, I just wanted to bring this to the group for open discussion to see if maybe there's some things out there that one city's doing that maybe another one's not, or some way that we could possibly help each other. It is an ever-changing environment, and I think a lot of us have learn how to be very adaptable in these times that we're in right now. But having said that, I'd like to just open this up for this discussion, so members may discuss the impact of COVID on this industry and operations. First of all, though, I'd like to start. Manuel, did you have some information that you'd like to share from Scottsdale?
Yes, I do. I have a PowerPoint. How's my audio?
That's good. It's clear. Can everybody hear him okay?
Good. Okay, if we're ready, first of all, good morning, everyone. I'm going to get all my excuses out of the way first. My first Zoom meeting, we usually use Teams. I'm working at home today. I'm usually in the office. So hopefully this goes well. This presentation, it is estimated numbers only, and it was kind of thrown together. So hopefully, and it does not have the May numbers. Please, next slide. So in the beginning, around March 16th, oops, I lost video. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry. Oh, so we started off staggering our start times for our working groups to distance them. Brush and bulk, we started at 4:30. Commercial, we started at 5 a.m. Residential, we split in half because they are such a large group. Half at 5:15, half at 5:30. So we did this for safety reasons, of course. The operators, originally they would of course clock in and come up and have a morning meeting, have some type of safety meeting or tailgate meeting. So at this point, we started. The majority of them were going straight to their trucks. When I say the majority is the majority of them know which route they're going to be on, know what trucks they're going to be in, unless there was some sort of change. There are reporting locations within the yard where we would hand out updates and meet. And we designated those locations: container repair facility, the fuel island, the ice island. So those employees would know where to go. If later on we would be refilling hand sanitizer and we would be handing out supplies at these locations also. So next slide, please. So also what we did in the office, customer service, we staggered some of those folks, some working from home and some in the office. Also, we distanced their working locations so they wouldn't be so close together when they were in the office. We did some of that. Program representatives. Our program reps are primarily, they inspect in the field. They also do outreach. That group, what we did is this group is kind of a jack of all trades for us. They also hold CDLs. So we limited the inspections. We cut out all the random inspections. We usually have some sort of a goal of 100 inspections each per program rep. We cut that down to just the hot issues. If there was an issue, we went out and investigated and took care of that. So some of these folks were running routes for residential since they have CDLs, and we had more employees calling off or missing work because maybe they had to take care of a family member due to COVID or something like this. And also, since these folks are outreach, we had them filling in at the CSR position since we had some folks working from home. So next slide, please. So PPE was an issue, of course. Hand sanitizer. Luckily, we had some in stock, and we've been real creative about this sort of thing. The city as a whole went to, instead of having this material available in the warehouse, they locked it down to a smaller distributing point with fire and some other folks involved in that because it turned into a commodity overnight. So anyway, hand sanitizer. We had hand sanitizer available for all our employees in the field and in the office, of course. Truck sterilizing. We tried a couple of different methods. We did run into some problems at first. We ran into a problem where you can't chase one. You can't chase bleach and water with another method. So we either stuck to one or the other. And also we learned that bleach and water apparently does go bad after a while and is not effective. So you have to mix that stuff daily. Luckily, face coverings, face masks, we had some in stock in a cool, dry place from a previous buy when we were preparing for another situation. So we were good on face masks, and we still are good. And since then, I think the market has caught up. So luckily, we're good in that area. Next slide, please. Okay, so measures we had to adapt to when we do meet, when we have meetings. This is our commercial group in the picture here. So we exercise distancing. We try to do that. These employees also have been issued everybody has a mask. There are Nitrex gloves available for those folks who need those. The regular gloves we have had employees. We've spoken to them about replacing those, so we have increased availability of any regular glove that we carry. So communication or technology within communication. So it's become an issue since we no longer are logging into our PCs and checking time in, time out. We had to we had to get a little bit creative with this. So we'll bring employees in a little at a time to check their emails. Web time, or what we call web time, or their tracking of their time. We found another clock in and clock out method that we're using. And training, we had to book bigger rooms, and of course limited personnel in there, observing distancing. So we've been able to do that. And just customer service, we've been of course demand has increased, so we've been it's been a task dealing with customer service on the technology and through all the incoming emails and submittals, work request submittals. So next slide, please. Okay, so again, these numbers are estimates and not exact. So March, we had a significant increase, of course. A lot of folks staying home, and tonnage increased quite a bit. With that, bags around the cans increased. So we've had to deal with that situation. April, for whatever reason, leveled off a little bit. Residential recycling has decreased, which is good because we want good quality recycling, but we have found plenty of contamination within the recycling containers. And at a certain point, I believe it was the end of March, I believe I said this already, we halted random inspections, and we just went back this week, so we're starting to inspect randomly this week. We increased recycling inspections. So next slide, please. So brush and bulk, we did have a drop off for whatever reason in comparison to 2019, same months. 2018, it did increase. This stuff varies with storms and other considerations. So this is not a big indicator of what's going on. I found just by what's going on with customer service, with folks being home, they are doing a lot of yard maintenance. So that's something that we have noticed. Next slide, please. So commercial, there was a lot of discussion about commercial because, of course, people aren't going out. They're not eating out. They're not going out. So tonnage had dropped off significantly, and we put this into focus, and we really wanted to help out any businesses that were in need. So we have taken some measures. Next slide, please. So commercial accounts, we have had some folks, we've given them the ability to put service on hold since there's no patrons in some of these businesses. We've reduced service in some of these accounts. We've had some folks go out of business, so we had to close some accounts. Of course, revenue has gone down, and these are estimates only. Next slide, please. So we wanted to work on this as well as residents. But on the commercial side, we did create a dedicated business line that goes straight to our commercial supervisor and his lead. And we've got an app that will, if it rings on the business line and he doesn't answer, then it goes to his city cell phone. And it's not a forward; it's an app that will have the ability to basically ring on both. So we've created that. We've asked private haulers within the city that are licensed to cut out some of their extra fees. These environmental fees and these other fees that are tacked on top of their initial fees. And it's hard to regulate this. It's an ask. It's not a mandate. So payment deferral questions. So what we did here is if you get on our website, one of the slide below is a little small, so it's hard to see. But you're going to see the option if you need. And this is for residents and businesses also. It's on our residential page, it's on our main page, and it's on our commercial page. If you need the ability to somehow work in some sort of payment program, we will help you on that. So that information is there, along with other information for other needs, mostly on the residential side on that. Next slide, please. So along with this, we try and put some humor in our communications. So just an example there on the bottom. I know it's a tough time, and there's different levels of concern with this. Some folks, it's business as usual. Some folks are highly concerned, and so we have to respect all the individuals. That's why I have just in my group, I've had some alternative work schedules. Everybody's back to work, but once we're fully staffed in certain areas, I may start some more teleworking, and our folks in the field will definitely have masks when they speak to residents, and they'll have gloves. Inspectors will have gloves, and the ability to clean their truck with sanitizer. So that's kind of what's going on in Scottsdale. I know I've left a lot of stuff out, but I just wanted to start the conversation. And at this time, is there any specific questions for me?
Yeah, I have a question. I know we kind of had our first initial changes in trying to help keep everyone safe. And I know over the last couple of weeks, there's been talks of cities and city halls going back open. And now we began to see an increase of people testing positive and things like that. Has anyone rethought of going back to where we were before, or even improving their safety measures to make sure that we don't get a second wave hit?
So speaking for my group, at this point, Scottsdale is looking at opening back up. I know the numbers have increased, and I know there are different schools of thought on this. Some folks say, well, we're just testing more. So there definitely is concern. So honestly, this is above my level. When we get the word that, hey, we're going to pull back, we'll pull back. At this point, we're moving towards more inspections. As a city, I believe we're opening back up. There is plans to open back up parks and libraries to a limited degree, so we're just taking more precautions. Excuse me. At this point, I know that it looks like there's a uptick and a rebound of the COVID virus. So we'll just have to deal with it as it comes. Anyone else?
Hey, Manny, this is Adam, Goodyear. Just a quick question. Is there any plans? Sounds like you waiting for direction from upper management or higher levels, but is there a plan for like another phase on how you are operating? Are you guys establishing those yet, or any idea what it may look like, your operation may look like in the next few months?
It's a work in progress. So we are just we're working on keeping the level of service up, keeping the routes covered with folks being out, and my group, the program rep group, is again is sort of our fallback when we don't have operators for residential. I'll shift some of those guys over there. So that's right now. We're just looking to keep those service levels up and do everything we can to limit contact. And I didn't speak about the transfer station. Transfer station had taken extra measures, even so far as to don HHW suits and that those type of measures. Yeah, we're just working on being that solid waste is similar to water. We have to stay in business. We have to keep service up. We're just working on getting better at what we do and keeping service levels up. So it's something we're going to have to work through.
Definitely. Anyone else have any questions, comments? So how about I just talk a little bit about what Goodyear's done. So we have implemented changes to our meetings for field staff. We similar to what Scottsdale's doing when we do meet. It's typically outside or outdoors. Our morning meetings are held out there. We are not allowing more than one person to ride in a cab of a vehicle at once, which has posed its own challenges. For example, if a truck goes down or we need to pick up a piece of equipment, how do we get from point A to point B without putting more than one person in a vehicle at once? We did suspend our inspection process. We've just recently started to do inspections again. And that's what we're seeing out there on the routes, similar to what Scottsdale mentioned. I know our brush and bulk side of the house, our bulk program, we've seen a 48% increase from our tonnages from last year. And that was in the month of April. May has been a little bit lower, but we're still seeing a lot. So it's the same set out numbers, but the tonnages are a lot higher. We're getting a lot of residents that are doing major remodel projects or major trimming trees and whatnot, doing just staying busy at home, and that's putting a burden on our bulk program. As well as trash and recycling. We did suspend our recycling program because the MRF was not able to meet the requirements that the mayor had enacted for social distancing. However, as of June 1st, we've actually restarted the program again, hence our inspections going back up again. And that's a phased program. As far as customer service goes, we're trying to keep everything limited to online interaction as much as possible, or phone. However, we still have a lot of residents that are home and they like to come out and talk to the staff while they're out there. So we're trying to get more PPE out to our staff right now to make sure that they have what they need out there to protect themselves, or at least give them some kind of a barrier between them and the residents. But our tonnages as far as curbside goes as well, we've seen an increase substantially with that. Where one truck would be able to run a route and pack out once, now they're packing out twice, even 3 times in some cases. And that's delayed some of our collection routes. And of course, with residents being home, they see everything that's going on, so they tend to call a lot more. So we've been dealing with that side of the house. Other than that, our city has upped its game on help. So we have employee services here that they've increased the amount of activities, I would say, that can help staff if they need it. For their health and well-being. We actually have a step program going on right now where they're encouraging staff to get steps in, and just try to help keep everybody healthy during this time. But anyone else? That's just some of the things that Goodyear's doing. Anyone else want to add to the conversation?
I can talk about what we've been doing in Mesa briefly. I don't have as detailed numbers as Scottsdale right now. Some of us have been chatting though. Our last day in the office for our office workers, admin staff, was mid-March, and we started phasing back into the office this week. The last day of HHM, our household hazardous materials facility, was also mid-March. It is opening up tomorrow. We are expecting a significant increase in the amount of visitors to HHM. I do know that we talked to other HW and HHM facilities. I know Flagstaff had pretty much stayed open, and they had pretty much double the amount of residents over March and April that they normally get. We briefly suspended our neighborhood cleanup program, but that has resumed in June 1st. Our bulk program, we have our second bulk employee following in a pickup truck, so they're not in the cab together. We've staggered start times, doing our morning announcements over the radio. Our call outs had significantly decreased during COVID for the past couple months. So that's great that everybody understood how important it was, but we are now seeing an increase in call outs. The HHM staff was temporarily repurposed to do a very detailed nightly sanitation on our trucks. Now our operators are starting to do a more simple sanitizing since HHM is going back to work. We had a significant commercial, well, not the commercial decrease, but that's coming back now. And we had a significant residential increase. And as far as education and outreach, we put out a PSA on how to maximize the space in your black barrel without overloading it, and a few things. We have been collecting vegetative and recycling with one truck. and trashing that's because our tonnage was up significantly, but it did save us about 25% on our miles and route hours, and we had significant cost savings from it. We're looking at splitting those back up soon. We just are starting to work on plans for that.
Thanks, Lauren. Anyone else like to add?
I can kind of speak to what Peoria is doing. When this first began, we were doing much like everybody else, which is meeting out in the driver area on the tarmac, and then drivers would get their assignment right from the tarmac. Since then, we've kind of changed up things a little. While drivers still get all of their materials on the tarmac, we are allowing 2 individuals in the cab to train and for bulk trash purposes, but each individual has to wear a mask and they have to wear gloves. Are we enforcing that? I wouldn't say that we're out there policing, but we are strongly admonishing individuals to follow those directions. In addition, we're taking all of the route books as they come in. They are wiped off with disinfecting wipes, and they are issued back to the drivers. Most drivers are not allowed inside of the office unless it's an extreme emergency. Many of our inspectors as well are following the same protocol. As far as tonnage is concerned, we've seen basically about a 22% decrease in commercial tonnage. We've seen right about a 19 to 20% increase in residential tonnage. And we've seen a lot more contamination. Seems like everybody is just throwing everything in the recycle bin. So we're on a pilot program right now with a routeware technology, and so we're using our inspectors to prepare for that. But as soon as they are done, they will be, hitting the street, so to speak, and going back to education. So we have seen our call-in rate drop also. Not sure what that's about, but we are now in the process of just trying to make sure that everything is maintained. Our admin staff are still telecommuting. The supervisory staff, since we each have offices and it's only about 4 or 5 of us, we're coming to work every day, but just maintaining the social distancing. And that's pretty much what we have with solid waste in Peoria.
Thanks, Aaron. Anyone else like to share?
Yeah, I'll share here in this city of Surprise. It's kind of the same thing which everyone has said. We have the operators who report out to their trucks. They've kind of turned it into their own little home office where they have the route books. They keep their keys in their truck overnight, and they just report there every day. The radios, they are taken in and sanitized every night and then taken back out so that the operators can have them during the day. We do allow some at the end of the day, now that it's getting hot, if they are back in the yard with some time to spare, but we've taken out all the chairs and just only we've separated the chairs so that only a couple can come in if they are in at a hour or 2 ahead of when they need to go home, so that they're not outside in the heat. We do have all of our we have the full operations reporting in. We don't have anyone at home working, but we're not quite the same size as these other cities, so we don't have we don't have too many people in the building, and those that come in, they have their own offices, so they're not sharing with anyone else. Besides that, we've just continued with our services that we have. We have seen an increase for bulk. We used to do 50 pickups a day. For the last 1 month or 2 months, we've done 75. We had to increase that to keep up with the services that people need. Along with that, on curbside, our tonnages have increased. Just like everyone else, we're picking up about an extra 40 to 50 tons a day from what we did prior to March. Besides that, we're just kind of a wait and see, and continuing to hope that everyone stays safe and healthy over here.
Thanks, Robert. Anyone else?
Hi,
Yeah, this is
Amanda.
Amy.
Oh, really, Amy?
Go
You
ahead.
can talk.
This is Amy Moreno with the City of Glendale. So we're doing much of the same as everybody else. We've staggered work shifts, also staggered our work shifts with the management team, the supervisors and foremen. We don't allow the operators inside the building, only to use the restroom, and that is very limited. That's in efforts to help the management team that work in the office stay safe. The drivers, we have the PPE they need: mask, gloves, hand sanitizer, cleaning products for their trucks. We do require them to clean before and after shift, and we have also provided a vendor that comes in and does weekly cleaning. They do a disinfectant on the inside of the cabs weekly. There's still some of us that are telecommuting, and then the management office staff, they're coming back a little bit more on their staggered shifts, but we're still taking it slow. We've also seen the increase in the residential tonnage. I don't have specific numbers, but bulk trash still continues to increase. But it looks like the residential is starting to kind of balance out. And I do have some sad news. A member of our staff has passed away Friday. From the COVID. So if your thoughts could go to his family, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Sorry to hear about that, Amy. Is there a GoFundMe account set up for this individual?
We're working on that right now. As I get more information, I will share with everybody.
Thank you.
Very sorry to hear that, Amy. Anyone else like to share with the group?
This is Amanda from Tempe. I can give you an update on Tempe. First and foremost, Amy, you all are in my thoughts and prayers. You guys are still my family. Love you guys. All right. So City of Tempe, we have not reopened. We were scheduled to open on Monday, but our city manager decided that we would not be doing that. At this point, they are looking at the earliest as being July 7th. So for us, what does that mean? Our compost yard is open and our hazardous materials center is open. Up until this week, we had done a couple weeks of making appointments by appointment only. We have since lifted that restriction, and it's just regular operations with the exception of PPE from all of my staff. And we're asking all of the participants or all of the customers that come in to please stay in their vehicles. As far as our operations go, we have staggered our meeting areas. So we're all starting at the same time, but we have different meeting areas that we have commandeered for the mornings, and they all are able to physically distance in those spaces. We do require face masks. That's a citywide requirement. And City of Tempe also is doing health screenings. I haven't heard anybody mention that yet. This health screenings are, I think it's 10 yes or no questions, and they are required for every employee that's going to be on site. For the most part, we have our supervisors in the office. Myself, I'm in there 2 to 3 times a week. Our director is bouncing between us and water once or twice a week himself. Right now, we are trying to telecommute as much as possible. There's not a huge rush for Tempe Solid Waste to bring everybody back into the office as long as the City of Tempe is remaining closed. PPE has been, it was earlier a challenge, but less so now. We have been providing hand sanitizer to the operators as they need it. We have been providing disinfecting wipes. Everybody has disinfecting spray and spray bottles and towels in their trucks now. So I think that's everything. Well, it's not everything, but that's a good broad stroke of what we're doing.
Thanks, Amanda. Anyone else? Okay, I guess thanks for everyone that did share some of the experiences that they're having right now. I realize that this will probably be a topic for the next several meetings or at some point. So having said that, why don't we go on to move on to the next item on the agenda. So item number 5 will be a request for future agenda items. Topics or issues of interest that the Solid Waste Advisory Committee would like to have considered for discussion at future meetings at this time. Does anyone have any future agenda items they would like to add for discussion for future meetings? Hopefully. I just checked to make sure that my mic wasn't muted, so I'm not hearing anything from anyone. Okay. So moving on to item number 6, comments from the committee. This time, an opportunity will be provided to Solid Waste Advisory Committee members to present a brief summary of current events. Committee is not allowed to propose, discuss, or deliberate, take action at the meeting on any matter in the summary unless the specific matter is properly noticed for legal action. So at this time, the committee members, if you'd like to report on any activities of interest, occurrence, or in their agencies right now would be the time to go ahead and speak up to that. And I will, I guess we'll just start with Manuel, if you could, anything other than what you've already reported on going on for the city of Scottsdale.
There is, you might have seen there was a piece where we had a request from a young man for since it was his birthday during this COVID situation, he requested that we have a truck go by. So I know some of the news channels showed up for that, and so that was nice. That was a good icebreaker. Our employees were wearing PPE. And so I'm told that went over well. Recycling, we're still obviously working on our recycling program. We're taking recycling to Phoenix now. So we're still that's still in the works, working on that. And of course, we just started inspecting again. Moving forward for the summer months, I don't foresee anything as far as any event. July, we will start up again with our curbside the HHW collection, which is done by our vendor. So that'll start up again in July. Other than that, I don't think there's anything new.
Thanks, Manuel. I guess, forgive me, but should we just go around the room, or, because I don't know, I can't see everybody that's on here, or should we just open it up from this point? Suggestions?
If you want, I can go. This is Robert Parks with Surprise. The only update I have for Surprise is we will be announcing tonight to our council that we'll be opening up a recycle program where the city residents can take it to a site, and they can bring their recyclables to us. So it's not a full curbside program, but it's at least something that we can begin to offer back to them. We have partnered with Friedman Recycling. We'll only be accepting cardboard, cardboard, 1 and 2 plastics, and tin cans and soda cans. So that's something we're excited about, to kind of bring something back to Surprise that will allow people who want to be part of the recycling solution to give that to them. So we'll have it'll be a certain hours and certain times of the week that we'll have that open. It'll be at a facility that will be secured, so that when we're not there, it can't get contaminated. So we can ensure 100% of it is clean, and it will not be a cost to us at all. So it's something we partnered with, and we're excited that we're able to bring at least some form of recycling back. So that's the only update that I have for our city.
Thanks, Robert. That is good news. I know you had suspended, or Surprise had suspended, the recycling program, so I'm sure you have a lot of residents that are looking forward to that. Anyone else have anything to report on? Sorry.
This is JB Shaw with ADQ. The Arizona Recycling Coalition will be having a meeting open to all members, non-members, next Thursday at 9:30 in the morning. It's a virtual meeting, and we'll be discussing, again, COVID related issues, but also breaking into groups that concentrate on the northern, central, and southern regions. And we're also working on creating subcommittees around outreach, policy, and other things. So I'd encourage and invite all of you to attend that meeting next Thursday. If you go on ArizonaRecyclingCoalition.org, you can register for the meeting. It's free, and I would love to have you all attend. So thank you.
Thanks, JB.
This is Ramona. To review a couple of things that we're doing. So like most of you, we have started our recycling and trash inspections back up the beginning of June. We are doing currently where she's just driving around in the truck. She's staying in the truck and then doing inspections on overfilled carts because that's been a big issue with we've seen an increase of about 40% in our trash and recycling programs. So very heavy. It's getting harder to get our routes completed on time. So we're also working on paperless, trying to be paperless. So instead of putting the inspection notice and the outreach material on the cart, we're going to try a pilot program. We'll let you know how that goes, of emailing the inspection results to the residents. So we'll see if that goes through or not. We opened up our neighborhood recycling center the first week of June, and we added new A-frame signage in between all of the containers so that it helps residents to know not to leave material on the ground for safety, especially during this COVID time, but also because it just keeps the center clean and we're able to do collection faster. So that seemed to work really well when we did this added outreach. And so that has been going really well. We are trying to figure out, so this might be an action item that we can talk about depending on when our next meeting is. But like most of you, we suspended our Earth Day drop-off collection event in March and April. So we are trying to see if there's a way we can do it in November for America Recycles Day. And we're thinking of some options on how to make it safe for all of the staff and for all of the residents that come and do a drop-off. So if anyone has ideas on how to do that, we'd like to share that. Gilbert did open their household hazardous waste facility in June, and we do have an IGA for our residents to participate in that facility, and we're going to do that in July, opening that up to our residents. And we're working on a way to help support their efforts to be contactless, so that the residents kind of stay in their car to show their identification, and then residents get out of their car and put their material on a pallet, and then they come in and take it away. So we're all trying to work out these significant issues of safety and distancing, right? Our bulk services we started that back up in June as well. And we try to be proactive and limit our participants to only 400, because we normally get between 400 and 600 requests each week. Well, now we have it each day of the first week, but so we thought we were being pretty proactive in limiting that to 400, but they were about 3 times heavier on each individual collection. So we didn't even get finished on the first day. So it kind of rolled over to the next day, and every day it kind of rolled over. But we hope that backs off as people have, over the next month or so, finally gotten rid of all the stuff that they're collecting during COVID. So that's kind of where we're at. And again, our thoughts and prayers to those that are suffering and having a hard time during this COVID. So thank you.
Thanks, Ramona. Anyone else like to share what their city's doing right now? Active activities, interest occurring, anything? Okay, having said that, I'll move to adjournment unless there's any other business that needs to be addressed at this time. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
This is Ramona. I'll motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second, it'd be great.
Thank you. All right, having said that, business is now concluded. Thank you everyone for sharing. Please be safe, and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye all.
Thank you, everyone.